My favorite part, the countdown, always awkward. Always fun, always exciting, like life. Jet Tila, welcome to the show.
What's up? That was a cold open, if I ever had one. That's amazing.
It was
Uh,
cold. It was cold.
Yeah, it
yeah,
was cool.
Neil and Ollie, amazing. Great to be here, guys. Honestly, very cool. Congratulations on this pod, by the way.
I'm
Thank you.
honestly, it's a real gift, not just for you to, be joining us with your presence, your resume, your demeanor, your style, but honestly, you are the first person on World's Greatest Dad podcast that actually has a podcast mic. I mean, what the?
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, wow.
You know what?
You already had
Confident
second
professional.
thoughts about being here. It's like, what kind of operation is
The
this?
tide is turning, Ollie. We're going, from amateur
guys are getting
to
big.
whatever's above that.
That's right, big time. No, we actually built this office out, multi-purpose, so we do a lot of our work here. But you know what? I mean, maybe one day we'll be bold like you guys and do our own podcast. But we're ready for it either way. Yeah, I do a lot of interviews and meetings out here, so it really is helpful.
I'm kind of surprised you don't, because you're one of the guys of a Food Network stalwart. Is that the right word? Neil's he's an English major, so usually
Yeah.
I don't look up a dictionary. I just ask him if I use the right word. But yeah, I feel
Regular?
like you're someone who's digital presence savvy. Like like you do really funny stuff with the kids. I saw some stuff on TikTok. I think just kind of not parroting, but having some fun at your expense of TOC. And your kids are like, "Wait, that's you." You know what I mean? Like you're with it. You know what time it is, right, Jet?
Yeah, for sure. But you know what? I've always believed, you know what I mean, that we're I'm a chef and a culinarian first and foremost, but I think your microphone megaphone is is important if you live your life in the public. So although I'm kind of the same guy I've always been, I as an entrepreneur I understand that these are the tools, and pandemic really kind of changed our game. You know what I mean? Like up until then, I would go on to set, we would make these shows. But as I was there, I was like talking to the audio guy and talking to the camera guys and talking to the lighting guys. And once pandemic hit and we did the show called, Triple G on the Road or something like that. We had the guys in our house and we were filming and recording. And I was like, dude, they taught me how to do this. So we broadcasted from our house during all of pandemic. We had weekly lives, we had cooking classes, we had Q&As, and it was all free. And if we ever charged, it was to go to charity. But it was really to create community and continue community. So that really kind of opened my eyes up to being the importance of being media savvy.
Well, and talk about timing too, because you obviously had the gift of continuing to be on Food Network during that time when a lot of production was shut down. But you see all these cats, and I know we kind of have a similar space, the Barbecue Bros. These guys launched their channels hard in 2020 on YouTube, and some of them started to really crush. So it's actually one of my regrets that I wasn't doing more of that. Because it was funny. I was like, I scored a TV gig. So I sat there, cranked the seat back in the lazy boy, not realizing that the tide was shifting. But not
If
Jet
only he had
Tila.
worked a little bit harder, planned a little bit smarter, he might not be here with me.
That's true. But I'm here with Neil. All things. Look, I got the same mic. Apparently, I just, I'll take my cues from Jet. Neil, should we do the intro before we get too deep? Because Jet's so.
Jet is a mensch. He's already mentioning his charity work. We're like 5 minutes in, and we haven't properly introduced you. So Ollie, do the honors. Tell our listeners who we're talking to.
Ladies and gentlemen, or is it mostly gentlemen? Who knows what the demo is? Please welcome to World's Greatest Dad, Jet Tila, who is a celebrated chef, known for bridging classical technique with his deep roots in Thai and Chinese cuisine. From the legendary Iron Chef America to opening restaurants across the country, Jet's impact on the food world is wide-ranging. But beyond the kitchen, He is a proud dad of 2, raising his family in Los Angeles with his wife, Allie. Most importantly, he's just a great dude. He really is, because he agreed to be on the pod. Jet Tila, welcome to World's Greatest Dad.
What a tremendous honor to be here. I think what's so great about these podcasts is we need to talk about each of our connections to each other. I mean, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? I mean, to get an hour with 3 of your buddies, I think it's most important to understand how we all know each other and why this pod will be so great. And it is because we know each other so well.
It's funny. It's like, I think podcasts, one of the reasons why people are so into them is like, it feels like you get to just eavesdrop on a conversation of like 2 really good friends. Like, and the crazy thing is, in doing pods, I've developed friendships, that cross, certain realities, like we're literally across the country right now, and we're like hanging out. And if we saw each other in real life, granted, I might be shorter in person, but I mean, this still counts too. It's a trip, man. It's a really lovely thing,
Well, and the funny thing for me is, both of you guys, I don't know if our listeners know this. I was your exec on projects that both never saw the light of day. And that's how the TV biz works, people. And that's why we're here doing this. And the funny thing is, now I'm getting to make something with both of you guys together here in this moment that will see the light of day, because we just posted. We just put it up. And that's what is so cool. Quality control isn't the same, but we don't need gatekeepers yet.
It makes it worse, guys. I mean, no offense to executives, but this is your IP, not some corporation's IP. So we control.
I call myself
what
a
we get to
recovering
say.
network executive.
There you go. There you go. Exactly. Hey, God bless all network executives. We need them. But in this platform, you guys are the executives.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, talk to me. World's Greatest Dad. Are you both?
We brought you on not because you're a chef, although you are. That is how we know each other, because we've all been playing in this food sandbox. But we only so far have only had dads on, because that's what this is about. So I'll tell you, Jet, the backstory on this was Ollie and I were kicking around, our 15th culinary competition idea. Who are we going to partner with? Who can we bring this out to market? And then we just started talking about our kids. Yeah. And he was talking about his son. I was talking about, my daughter. I have a 7-year-old daughter and an almost 5-year-old son, and just kind of riffing, literally just bullshitting about our kids. And we were kind of like, why aren't we just doing this? This is the most important part of our lives. All the other things are a piece of our lives. They're an identity, things we can feel proud of. But when it's all said and done, it is like the biggest cliche, like, who cares? Because all that matters is that your kids are happy, right? That your kids are safe. And, Ollie and I talk about Weird Al Yankovic did this interview, they were talking about what's a time that you fantasize from your life. And he said, when my daughter was 8, and I think she's in her 20s now. And I was like, oh my God, that's like where I am right now. This is like the guy who I love and, is so adored. He just wants to be back with his 8-year-old daughter. So anyway, that's to give you the backstory on like why you're here. And we know you're just an awesome dude and a great dad. And that's kind of what we do here is we just shoot the shit and talk about what does it mean to you to be a dad? And I guess I'll start with tell us about when you first found out you were going to be a father. You were transitioning from being kind of like a badass renegade, married but childless chef who called his own shots. Like, what went through your mind?
Well, I will say I was, I'll start with a quick anecdote, if you will. I was chefing at Wynn Las Vegas, and, it's one of the premier, I think, hotel casinos with a food and beverage portfolio, unrivaled in America, if not the world. And I re-met my most amazing life partner, best friend, soulmate, Ali Tila, while I was chefing there. And I was 36, and I was kind of like, I grew up in restaurants. I mean, 3 generations, grandparents, parents, myself, and I was burnt out and I was really unhappy. And the restaurant business destroyed my family, right? The food business literally gave us everything and took everything away, which is another story. We'll put a pin in it. And you know what? And until then I was like, oh, these stories about falling in love and knowing instantly, that's all bullshit. You know what I mean? That stuff doesn't happen. But I met this woman, and like my life changed. My perspective changed. Every fiber in my being, wanted to be with her. And we were right. We're in similar places at that time. And then within 18 months, we were married. She was pregnant, and I
Whoa.
was trying to get the hell out of Wynn. So I called my mom, and I was like, I'm gonna get married. She's like, bullshit. And I was like, beyond that, you're gonna have a grandchild. And she was like, did you knock her up? I was like, how dare you? I'm going out of chronological order, but I guess the point of this ramble, it really is, you know what? I spent 40 years of my life chasing money and adrenaline, and I went to my executive at Wynn. I was like, I'm quitting, and she was like, you're not quitting. You're trying to leave us to go to the opposing property, and I was like, bullshit. And she's like, sign a 3-year non-compete, never come back to Vegas, and I'll believe you. I said, put some money behind that, and you'll have a deal. And that was it, guys. I left.
Wow.
I left one of the most lucrative jobs on earth to be with my partner, to have children. And I take nothing more serious than being a husband and a father. So from that day, my life has changed. And I think people know me well enough. If you follow me on socials, like, you know what? I don't identify myself by my job, by being on TV, by be cooking, by writing books, but I judge myself upon how well I'm doing as a father and a husband. So yeah, man, I take this shit seriously like you guys do.
I mean, I'm trying. To be honest, it's been a bit of an epiphany for me. Like, I'm someone who, it's interesting when you said you were chasing adrenaline and money. Like, I think, you obviously grew up with food, with the restaurant business. So you are one of those people who can say, oh, I was a chef before it was like the new rock star kind of thing. I always was chasing a career in entertainment, and one of the things I've wrestled with is like there are just ups and downs in one's professional life and life itself. But like having their moments of being a dad have actually been, it's almost been, I'm not a religious person, but it feels like it's like, okay, I know in my heart what counts right now. And one of the things about doing this podcast was like having this epiphany I had in like the spring of 23, and I was, doing this TV hustle, trying to do a Zoom, dropping my kid off at martial arts, and he's talking to me, and I'm like, I can't deal with you right now. And then he's like, oh, okay. And then he just walked off, and I was like, I did the bad, and I ran up there, and that's when. Then he graduated 5th grade. All these events started happening in the spring of 23 where I'm like, dang, dude, like, this is it. And now I'm currently obsessed with trying to figure out how to make Trader Joe's penne arrabbiata copycat for my kid. Like, that's like what I'm trying to go for right now and make this podcast happen. So I get it, man. But sometimes you don't see the light till later, I mean, I guess...
Look, I agree, Ali, and I will say, like, I will be the first to tell you, man, we are fucking poor. Like, I grew up, I keep a box of government cheese up here, like the actual container, because it reminds me every day of where I came from. I have the luxury of entrepreneurship and celebrity to be a present father. So I get it, and I will not judge anybody because they're trying to make money to just a goddamn survive. Because I remember being hungry, and I remember my parents struggling. So I can sit on my high horse and be like, hey, like, I'd take nothing more serious, but I have the luxury to do so. So God bless dads and moms and families. They're just trying to make it, man, and making mistakes, making it. is fine. It's really about how we make amends. Like you going back up to your son and saying, sorry, I'm here. Nothing matters more. That's what it's about. So on one hand, like I love this. I appreciate being a father and a husband. But on the other hand, I also have the luxury to be able to spend more time with my kids than most get to. Anyway, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Nah, man. But I mean, hey, it's a podcast. This is the whole point. But it is, I think it is a real luxury. And the funny thing is, for me, there are times where I'm like, it's changed a little bit. But yeah, part of me is like, if a phone call came in and I got a gig, I would be freaking clicking my heels, baby.
Yeah.
I'd push Dorothy out of the way. You know what I mean? I'd be in Kansas. Yeah. No, actually, no. I'd want to go to Oz. Like, that part of me, if that is true, and the other part of me is like, you know what? I think I'm pretty freaking fortunate right now, but perspective's crazy. What do you think, Neil? Do you just want to be home with your kids 24/7? Are you that guy?
I'll tell you, I've gotten quite accustomed to being around all the time, right? Because I too, have had the privilege since, my daughter was born in 2018, and I was in an office then, but come 2020, really early in 2020, the entire world changed, as we know, the pandemic. And if you're in a computer job, which I have been, because I'm not a shooter, I'm not an on-set guy typically, I was able to just be home all the time. And I haven't really transitioned out of that, I'll travel here and there, but for the most part, like, my kids have seen me around. And so, like you, Jed, it's like, it's easy for me to say, like, oh, I wouldn't trade places with those people who have to, commute, several hours a day, or, work nights and stuff. But that's just not my situation.
Exactly.
I'll say, given my situation, I really do love it. I think sometimes the challenge from working from home so much is it starts to blur and blend. And, it's nice. I can be out at the park in 5 minutes and hang out with my kids and then come back and do a meeting. But then, everything is just meshing together. Where do you begin? And, where does dad begin? And, worker end, and husband. And I think, like, we're juggling all these different roles. And, I think part of the interesting thing about this podcast is, we fully admit, like, we don't have all the answers. We might not have any answers. But that's why we're just kind of like talking about it, figuring it out in real time together. And I think, we've talked about this, Ollie and I, like, our dads were not necessarily the types to seek counsel from other dads. It was either they knew it all already, or, they would just pretend they did. And I think, like, our generation of fathers is kind of becoming more open to just talking about it more and just being like, hey, we're struggling with this, or what do you do with this? And, and the funny thing is, I'm curious how, when my kids, grow up, if their parents or, their peers, like, what they'll say about how backwards we have it right now, that we're just not even realizing. But, we're doing the best we can, maybe, I think.
That's all we can do, Dad. Yeah.
This is something I'm curious about. Jen, are you first gen? Are you second gen? Were your parents immigrants?
So my parents were immigrants. The Thai community started in America in 1966. My family was that first group of hundreds, thousands of Thais that came to Los Angeles. I was born in 75. So my I am the first, and depends on the culture. So my family considers it first gen, right?
Yeah.
Some cultures consider who landed first gen, who's born second. But my family they landed. I was the first in my bloodline born in America, so I am first gen.
So I have that vibe as well, right? My parents are immigrants. Like, how would you contrast, the parenting you had with parents who came from, a different culture, different part of the world, and obviously the generational gap, and then how you and your partner are dealing with it now?
Yeah, I think that's its own question that could have an entire podcast, right? But in summary, so my wife is fifth generation American Californian, believe it or not, right? And so I think a lot of us are children of immigrants, firstborn. And I think, one of the beauties of media these last 20 years is the stories, Joy Luck Club, Fresh Off the Boat. I mean, I could go on, right? So I think we are all tuned into each other's flavor on how we grew up. But my dad was, he was part entrepreneur, part thug, literally. And I mean, you guys, this is a podcast. We could talk about real shit, right? Like, okay, yeah. So, again, we were very poor. He was very poor growing up, and they were twice immigrants. So my grandfather had to leave China because of communism, go to Thailand. So they were setting up shop in this brand new country, learning the new language. So my dad was this Chinese kid born in the streets of Bangkok. And his community was, a bunch of street kids similar to him. And he was a street, you could call it a gang, you can call it a whatever, but he was he lived a very violent life, and he unfortunately got into this altercation. Unfortunately, a rival gang young man passed away, and he was on the run, and he was known, and his parents were like, "You need to leave, like." They're giving visas to go to America, and you need to go because you staying here, you're next, right? Or you're going to end up in jail. You're going to be a problem. So he comes to America, no money in his pocket. One of his first jobs was like washing dishes. He was parking cars at Man Chinese Theater. I mean, such a LA story. Builds this amazing business, right? Multiple vertically integrated Thai food businesses. At 50 something, closer to my age, the risk taking lifestyle never left him. So he breaks the law again. And good story for this podcast is my last name is Tila. My original last name is Tila Kamankul. And I had to change it because if you Google Tila Kamankul, you see my dad's cases. So he unfortunately had to leave this country to go back to his birth country because he can never come back. And if you Google Tila Kamankul, you'll see why. So, I had to live this double, triple life. You know what I mean? There's code switching in that I was from this side of the tracks to that side of the tracks. But then knowing your dad is a wanted, not felon because he was never prosecuted, playing in this world of, got to be a little more articulate here, and then becoming on media, and then you know what I mean. And I've suppressed the story most of my life, but I'm like, who cares now, And if anything, I think a lot of people will be able to identify with kids like me. You know what I mean? Didn't grow up on the right side of the tracks. Fathers did not do a great job, and you still can be okay. Like you're still going to be okay. So anyway, I feel like I'm taking over here, but
no, that's. We're happy for you to take over, Jet.
Yeah.
I have so many questions. How old were
yeah, no,
you?
go ahead, fire away.
How old were you when your dad had to leave the U.S.?
So I was 17. I dropped out of high school. So it was the summer after all my friends graduated. And they did well in business. Again, by that point in my life, like I was cruising, I was a spoiled brat, compared to where I came from, I had a lot. I get home from hanging out, and my parents are burning documents in the fireplace.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the F is going on? And they're like, we gotta go. Like our entire family is moving within weeks. And there's no internet at that time, right? I mean, very, so that I was 17. To answer your question, within a few weeks of that moment, we all went to Thailand. And I knew in that moment, or I thought my parents were never coming back. My brother's never coming back. But I made a choice I told them from the beginning, I will transition you, but I will not live in Thailand. I will figure it out and start over. So I started over. I was 17 and I started all over from scratch at that point.
And this is where you moved back to the States and kind of got into kitchens.
I moved back to the States. We had restaurants. right? Because we have a big family. We still had the grocery store, now run by, a person my father installed there who basically was ripping them off from the second they took off, right? The owners are gone, right? And they leave these people to run their businesses who were, I knew as a 17-year-old coming back and working for them. I had to work for other people in our own businesses, that they were getting ripped off. So yeah, that's I came back, and the reason I left my family's businesses were because of all these thieves that were running my family's companies. So I went off and I started teaching cooking classes. I was chefing. I was cooking. I was a cook in a lot of LA restaurants, and that's how my non-Asian cooking career started.
Do I remember this correctly? Did you teach Allie cooking? Is that originally how you guys met, right?
Yeah, I was working in restaurants here in LA. Wolfgang Puck Catering, Grace with Neil Fraser. I worked at Hungry Cat, and during nights I was off, I would moonlight teaching young professionals at Sur La Table, at like the Williams Sonomas of the world. And Allie was a preschool special ed teacher at that time. And she became a regular client, like a young professional coming to take cooking classes. And that's how we met. That's exactly how we met. It was no romance at the time because I was just trying to fucking survive, man. I got a job offer at Wynn Las Vegas. I took off to Wynn. And, cut to like a year in, she came out to Wynn. And that's where we re-met. And while I was an executive chef at Wynn Las Vegas.
When were you doing Cutthroat Kitchen during all of this?
Oh yeah, I'll just jump ahead. While I was at Wynn, my second year, I battled Morimoto on Iron Chef, because during those years, I think it was 2007, 8, 9, or something like that. Every year, one of our chefs would battle an Iron Chef. You know what I mean? Like, so I was the third. I battled Morimoto. He beat me by 2 points. It was a really close battle. And that was kind of that next tipping point of, I can probably or try to pursue TV and media, move back to LA. And my first gig, Neil, that Food Network asked me to do, I was on the first season as a judge of Triple G, Guys Grocery Games, that was shot here in LA. Like season 1, F1. And I was season 1 Cutthroat Kitchen, and they both shows were tracking to be a hit immediately. The network came to me and was like, "You got to pick one, because these both are going to hit." So I chose Cutthroat because it was shooting in LA, and I think Guy was a little upset at me for a few years. You know what I mean? And it was for no other reason than Allie was pregnant with Amaya, our first child, and I needed to be home and I didn't want to travel. So hopefully that story answered a bunch of questions all the same.
Yeah. Because I mean, what they were shooting in Santa Rosa at the time, or
yeah. So after season 1, they moved up to Santa Rosa.
Right.
And I was like, I'm not gonna go to Santa Rosa. Like I just left Vegas. I want to be home, and we're building our consultancy. I was just trying to survive at that point. You know what I mean? Because I left this gigantic, huge paying job to try to start over in LA.
Yeah.
And I have to ask.
No, I was just saying, how old are your kids now?
12 and 10. So Amaya just turned 12, daughter 12. Our son Ren is 10. And our daughter, I have photos of baby Amaya held by Alton Brown on the set of Cutthroat Kitchen.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I know. Great. It's crazy, man.
When were you teaching classes at Sur La Table?
Oh my God, that was from 1999, 2000.
Okay.
Yeah, until I left for Wynn around 2007. So I taught the entire LA circuit, and then in fact, that's how I credit that for getting me on TV, because when you work in LA and you meet hundreds of people teaching cooking classes, you develop a private chef client base, because a lot of these people that take classes, everyone's in the industry here, right? As we all know. So I met and did a few private gigs for a producer of a show back in the day. One of the first Food Network shows that was called the the best of. I mean, this is old school, guys. This is 99, 2000, like the first few years. And that was my first Food Network segment was, I think, 99, 2000.
Oh, wow. So you had been in it, because I felt like Cutthroat Kitchen was when I came to know of you. But that's the old days.
Well, no, I was on one segment of a show, right? That the best of covered the best of ... right? Like best of holiday gifts, best of LA, best of Dallas. It was what was that other show, guys, that we've all done before?
Best thing ever ate.
That's it. It was the precursor, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
to the best thing I ever ate. So my segment was the best of holiday gifts. I created the first Thai food commerce website in history, and it was I was an idiot. I was just like, I'm gonna make a pad Thai kit and I'm gonna ship it across America, and there'll be fish sauce and lime and like a wok and all that stuff. All you got to do is add fresh ingredients. So that's how I ended up on the best of.
How many did you sell?
Oh my God, because it reran every holiday, like that segment made my holidays. We sold thousands. And this is we created our own little, shopping network and website. It was crazy because it was 1999 and I was like, there was no credit card processing on the web. So people would like transmit their credit card. I would sit there at our grocery store trying to like input credit cards manually and then take the wok and the ingredients, box them up, write a recipe and ship it out, dude. This is over 25 years ago now. This is incredible.
It's crazy.
That's like the zine of Blue Apron or Wonder
e-commerce, man. I mean, it's funny. That's when Gary Vaynerchuk launched his parents' wine shop into, it's like, we're going to use the internet to like sell wine, whoops. Yeah. Turns out that's a pretty lucrative thing. That's amazing. I had to ask about Sur La Table because I took a class at Sur La Table, and I remember in like 2008, I remember I had just gotten married, so we just missed each other. And I took this class, and, for the record, I keep having to tell this people over and over again, I am not a professional chef, but I do know a thing or two about food. I took this class, and this was my original blog. I remember writing a post going, Sur La Table cooking class, what a joke. It was not a very good class. Like, we did some pasta, and the guy had breadcrumbs, but he burnt the breadcrumbs. And I remember having this pasta, and I'm like, this feels like I'm licking the catch-all tray of a toaster. And so I was like, why didn't I get Jet? And that's because you had already moved on to, probably make like mid-six figures at the Win.
I was out, bro. Yeah, I was out of there by then. I wish I was your instructor. What a good story that would have been.
It would have been night and day, my friend. That would have been night and day.
So I want to go backwards just because I still have a lot of questions about your father. So and by the way, I take Anthem Blue Cross Jet.
Yeah, right.
Do a therapy. Stop it, Ollie.
I love it.
Is he still around, by the way? Are your folks around?
Yeah, my father's still in Thailand. I mean, he left and never came back. My mom actually had to come back and fight the charge, right? And so that was a whole nother story. So my father's still alive. Since I was 17, and I'm 50 now, team. Mm-hmm. I've spoken to my dad 8-9 times. I mean, Allie and I've been married 14 years, and she's heard his voice on the phone maybe 2-3 times. So yeah, he's still around.
Yeah. Well, that was going to be my question. So you haven't brought the fam over to Thailand in the last decade or so?
No, ever. I was doing a video project in Thailand while Allie was pregnant with Amaya, so that would be 12 years ago. And you know what? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's traumatizing, if it's just like, I don't want to drag my. You know what, guys? If you've never been to Southeast Asia, it's hot as balls. All right, like let's just be real. There's a practical reason. If you've been in like Louisiana in the heart of summer or Houston, Texas, that's Bangkok all the time. So A, I don't want to see my dad. B, I hate the heat. C, I know him. He's gonna try to charm my wife and my kids, and then he's one of those parents that's like, bro, I was just doing the best I can, man. You know what I mean? And there's a difference between like working your ass off to survive or literally breaking the law to take risks and knowing the consequences are devastating to your family. In my opinion, he took the bullshit path of like, I'm gonna fucking gamble like Vegas, and if I crap out, we all crapped out. The entire family crapped out. I mean that his betrayal or his decisions eventually destroyed the entire family business. So this man who came to this country with nothing, built a grocery store, built an import company, built a produce company, built a legacy, right? The first of whatever Asian businesses in America. His decisions also led to the decline and the collapse of this entire micro empire he built.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like, and I don't want to speak for you, but I mean, because I'm curious the stories you've told your kids and will tell them, but it sounds like to me, it's what he did, but also sounds like maybe the lack of contrition, awareness, growth. I mean, how can you forgive if someone doesn't ask for forgiveness? Am I getting to what's going on?
Again, what are we, 250 an hour? Where are we at here? 300 an hour?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
You know what? This one's on the house.
Yeah, okay, got it. I'm torn there, right? What do I tell my kids? There's a few policies in our house, right? Like, so Allie has relevant to this conversation. Allie has a master's in early childhood education. So Allie was in preschool special ed for 15 years before I begged her to come join our company. So I had to learn, guys, about like sharing feelings and having intimacy, not sexual, like just having intimacy. I had to learn about being honest to my children. We had to create core values. We had to create kind of rules and pillars of how we're going to live our lives. And I credit Ali Tila to this sane, successful person sitting here. It is 99% Ali Tila, and I'll take credit for like putting in the hard work, but she built the framework here.
Were you resistant at all, or were you like, oh, I like what you're doing here, Allie. This is something I did not have growing up. I see the appeal, or were you like, this is not for me?
We've been married 14 years, and I would say, I was pretty fucking gung-ho and, balls to the wall that first 6-7 years. And I wasn't resistant on purpose. It just took me a while. I mean, I had to break down to get rebuilt, right? I had to like really understand the anger, the trauma, the consequences of my father's actions. So once I started to understand it, and once I started to read and have some therapy and just like her wisdom, I mean, it's taken 7-ish years for me just to get to this point. And I will say, for any other dads out there that are dads and entrepreneurs and trying to get out there, like the unintended positive consequence of like kind of understanding the mechanism of trauma. I didn't expect this to also make me not just a better husband, father, but it's made me a better entrepreneur. It's made me a better, business person, media personality. So like this stuff, I felt really broken, and I was broken systemically, like all the way down to the core. But this turn actually helped everything systemically as well, which was what I didn't expect. I was like, dude, I feel better. I'm not angry. I'm gonna do my best to be a great husband and raise really great kids and just be an honest man and be a man of my word. But that's actually touched everything. It's made our business better. It's made, everything better. And I never expected it, guys.
That's really cool.
It's amazing to me because I feel like because of we've met, but I mean, it's seeing you on TV and honestly the social media content you do where it's very it's very personality driven. It's not just like, hey, Jet's cooking. No, it's
Right.
you. It's amazing to me just even taking in your demeanor and hearing all of this, I mean, pain. Like
Yeah.
this is not you make it, it's so weird to even just hear you talk about this in a way that's balanced. Like usually when you hear these kinds of stories, there's a box of tissues, there's reluctance, and I mean, did this take time? Because obviously, thanks for spilling your guts on World's Greatest Dad, but like, I'm really in awe of you, because you just seem like this super bad. If you were to tell me, I grew up, everything's great and hunky dory. I'm like, yeah, you seem like you got it all together, Jet. And yet, how did you get to this place where you're open, and then like how have you learned from that as a dad for your own kids? Because obviously there's a big difference between you and your dad.
Yeah. No, big time. I don't know, guy. Like at the same time, like I'm sharing when you guys. I haven't done a lot of podcasts, and it really because what you guys are doing is good work. Because I think, how did I get here? Number one, we need more stories like this out there, real stories, right? When I was 16 years old, I dated this girl, and I think in hindsight, I dated her because I was so in love with her family, right? And her mom, like she had an intact family, right? And we started as friends, and I would go over her house, and they would do shit like make dinner together, and then like play board games after dinner, and then like all sit around for movie night. And I think one thing I always knew growing up was, dude, I came from a really broken place, right? Like, like I knew my situation was not normal, right? I knew that my dad's personality and his like thrill seeking, his grandiosity, made him very successful. But I also knew that him being really, really kind to strangers, and then once they were out of sight, whipping around and being really abusive to me and my family, I knew that wasn't normal. So, I really credit this. I was yearning for some normalcy. And I met this family, and I ended up spending time with this family for like a year and a half, and that was the first healing kind of experience that I had. And to this day, like, Bob and Shirley Hedrick, like they saved my life. I'm not gonna lie. Like I still keep in touch with Shirley to this day. I introduced Allie and the kids. She lives close by now, and we check in on her. So that was the first thing, is I knew I was in crisis. So I needed to I always was looking for role models. And this actually leads right into mentorship, as I talk about in entrepreneurship. So he was my first mentor. He wasn't an entrepreneurial mentor, but he was a life mentor. And then as I separated, and then remember, as we know, my family left, I came back, and I was alone. And in life and in business, I was always seeking mentors. So how did I start getting better? Was I started to find better situations, put myself in those situations, learn from them. And then I met Allie, and again, through her, just she's got this equal EQ IQ balance, right? And I mean, if you fucking think about it, I was special needs, right? Like I had mad ADD. I was super angry. I lashed out, and like she really kind of helped me understand that. You know what I mean? Like, she introduced me to this thing called the DSM, whatever they call it. Like therapists and like psychologists. Like, so I was like, shit, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. I need to work on myself. And as soon as we had kids, like I was still pretty angry for a few years, and then I was like, I can't repeat this cycle. And you know what I mean? So therapy was really helpful, and just finding a good person who I trust, and having an amazing partner. And look, dude, I mean, it looks like unicorns and rainbows on social media, and it looks like that, and we live a fantastic life, but it took a long time to get there. You know what I mean? It took me probably 7, 8 years, Ali, for me to really kind of get my head right. You know what I mean?
Oh wait, I can't work the mic. I think I can. You hear me? I get my buttons
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
messed up.
It might be my
well,
connection.
you know, no. I'm hitting the mute. I'm trying to use the mute button more so I can listen more. But yeah, you bring up something that I think usually people equate with financial success, which is there's no such thing as an overnight success. And what I'm talking about with you is, a successful family and personal success that obviously has taken you a long time. And to your point of social media, everything's rainbow and unicorns, like there's always a little kernel of truth, like you just got to
Yeah,
look at
right.
different accounts sometimes, right? And I just feel more, I'm a just true believer in what you put out there. It's funny, like my tiptoe with this, and this is something for me, which is like, we both have something in common, Jet. We bring a different culture, race, to our family, than our partners do. Do you, and I was actually going to ask you this earlier, do you speak Thai? Do you speak Chinese? Are you bilingual, trilingual? And then the other
Yeah.
follow-up is, how have you approached that element, maybe not language, but just bringing more cultural awareness to your kids?
Yeah, so I grew up, trilingual, but with a good spattering of Spanish because my aunt is Mexican, and I spent a lot of my middle school and early high school years in Mexico because of our work. But I will say I have failed in trying to transfer that to the next generation. I have totally and utterly failed, and I am ashamed of myself. We kicked around trying to send them to Sunday school, and here it's not religious; it's Thai school, and they would, and all the kids in my generation that went to Thai school, they were fluent. They read and they wrote Thai. And I'm like, in my dreams, I was like, oh, hell yeah, my kids are going to be trilingual at least like me. And then, and life got in the way, and I acquiesced, and you know what I mean? In terms of culturally, I will say, like, I fucking love the American culture and the American story and this country. And I think the perspective that I've always had, that I don't think people understand being born here or being here for multiple generations, is there are few other countries on this earth where you're not bound to your financial situation by birth. Period. There's very few countries my father could have went to that opened their arms to him, and he built this mini empire and supported his 6 brothers and the rest of their families. Like, so I have that massive love and pride for this place, because if I grew up in Thailand or China, I'd be a food laborer like my grandparents were. I would have a shop house restaurant. I wouldn't have gone to college, and if I did, it would, So culturally, I think as we feel, those of us that are in mixed relationships and marriages, there's this fantastic opportunity to have multiple cultures. And Ali will say, well, I have no culture. I only speak one language, but that is its own culture. You know what I mean? And culture is beyond where you're born and the color of your skin. Culture is actually what you develop. The lovely thing about marriage and family is we get to start over and create culture in our house. So we have created our culture. So do my kids do they know what Thailand looks like, smells like, feel like? Not really. Do they know what Thai food looks like? Yes, because we partake, and my grandma's around, but we're figuring it out, man. Like, so I have failed to give them new languages. We need to travel more, but I do like the culture that we've created in our house.
What would you say what's the culture? I mean, like if you were gonna like describe some of the core tenets, even if it's just like specific, movies you watch and stuff, like what's
Yeah,
the culture, or just being honest,
yeah.
you had
That's
said
such a
like
good
being
question,
open.
Neil. It's such a real question, right? Because it makes you kind of reflect on who you are as a person and as a parent, right? What's the Tila culture, right? Ali Tila and Jet Tila, we don't lie, we don't we don't bully. Always try to help people do the right thing. We don't start shit, but we'll finish it. Absolutely. So I am not against protecting your loved ones, right? And I really think it's about being the best person you could be. Man, I don't want to, it's not religious. We're not religious. I grew up in religious schools. I had access to religious families. But man, like those 10 rules are pretty simple to follow, and you can take it out of the context of religion. But you know what I mean? And there's one golden rule. And it's really simple. I think if you break me down to the most minute bits, I'm a really simple guy. I think I've done a lot in my life. I don't need a lot, honestly. I have a lot. So, and it's also about helping people. I think if you follow me on social, you know, we charity is a big deal for me. You know what I mean? Helping our loved ones, helping family. So that's it. I mean, without getting like preachy and shit. You know what I mean?
No, it's
It's
huge.
good.
I mean, it's nice to have, it's not like you're going to reinvent the wheel, right? Like you're going to come up with
Oh,
some sort of value that hasn't been taught for thousands of years, right? It's like, but that it's about the practice of it, right? Like you can say be
yeah.
kind, be kind, be kind, but then you actually have to be kind,
You have
which
to
is not always
follow
easy.
through.
And,
Yeah,
you know,
everyone talks the shit. You know what I mean? But very few people walk the walk. So, uh, and you know what? With the internet and the world, there's receipts out there, and I've walked the walk, and I try to walk the walk, and I model the walk. You know what I mean? So, and I'm proud of that. I'm proud of being. I look at my kids, and I want to become a person that they go, that dude's real. He's honest, man of his word. He doesn't fuck around. You know what I mean? Like I mean, there's firm, loving boundaries is how we run our house. Firm, loving boundaries. I'm gonna set very clear expectations, and uh, and then I'm gonna help you. I will always. We love our kids. We'll give them everything they need. They won't ever always get everything they want, right? Unless they earn it or unless it's appropriate for their age. My daughter's pissed off at us because she's one of the few in her class who doesn't have a cell phone, and I'm gonna hold the line. You know what I mean? Like that's just who I am. That's how my wife is.
How old is she?
She's 12. Yeah,
So my son's 13. We're getting
yeah,
real close. We're just getting there, but I'm in the same boat too.
yeah,
Same
man.
boat too. I mean, yeah, I
That's
know.
big,
It's
guys.
it's
That's
it's
big. And
it's
for
nuts.
girls,
do
I
you
think it's
guys
bigger.
ever feel? I mean, because you guys are closer to 50. I'm 40, Jet. But like, do you guys ever feel like this is a moment where you really can do the like we walked uphill? Because it's like there weren't cell phones when I was 12.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
there were no cell phones for kids. There was car phones.
You're right, Neil.
Maybe yeah,
And
big
you're and
the
you
big
and
ones.
here's the shit, right? Like I feel bad for my kids because my uphill was fucking hardcore because of my dad, right? Like these
Mm.
kids here in Calabasas, they didn't grow up like me. So my poor kids, you know what I mean? Like my uphill was really struggling, really poor, really in danger, really hurt. So you know what? We just have very so I don't know that's there's the answer. You know what I mean for us
Sure.
anyway.
Well,
That's
how do
kind.
you like? No, go ahead, Ali.
Well, I was going to say that's kind of a big truth to it, and this connects to like whether it's like I was kind of tiptoeing on do you, what if you had a quote
Don't
cultural
tiptoe.
responsibility. Okay, no tiptoe. We're smashing the door. But
Yeah,
when I
you
asked
got
you
it. I mean,
about
that's why
like
we're here.
your culturally, like how have you raised your kids to understand or know stuff about Thailand, but it's also like whether it's that whether it's how you grew up. It's about them growing up. Like, this is now. Like, a smartphone is starting to become like absolutely practical. Like, there are times where we're out and I'm like, we literally will say, I wish we had a phone. And then when I think about the cultural element, because I'm in the same boat, Jet, like, especially when my kid was younger, is when the pressure was really there in my mind of like, oh man, because I'll just say it, I'm a freaking coconut, all right? I am not religious. I don't speak the language. Like, come on. Like, nothing, right?
Yeah.
But then, with my son, then, I started to hear the voice of my dad and, like, the way he was
What did that
up,
tell you?
and like this.
What did your dad's voice tell you?
Oh my God. Well, we had a whole thing for years where he was like, one day I'm going to have you come and go to the village. You're going to go and you're going to see how life was like, right?
Yeah.
And, what's crazy is cut to like 2018, I was like, I want to do this as a show. Like, my son's like, 5 at the time, and I'm like, oh, I want to go, because my dad passed away in 2016, so I never got to do that with him.
Yeah.
So, thank you. And, it was, that's a whole other thing there. But, I was like, all right, I'm going to fulfill the promise with my son. But here's the thing, Jet. This is what's crazy. That country, Bangladesh, has transformed.
Yeah.
The mobile internet has created a middle class. So guess what? Those stories, this image of my dad and, growing up in rural Bangladesh is gone. Your kids are living their own narrative, their own reality. Exactly. And we have to accept what this world is now. And if anything, it's like, that's more about me having to let go of something I was going to do with my dad more than what my kid needs to know now. And I also find interesting, I take a little solace in the fact that he has other kids in his school who are also basically, half brown, half white. And they'll all like get together and do like the Indian accent and like crack jokes and stuff. And I love it. I'm like, man, I want to jump. So I'm like, okay, cool. He is a little bit more aware. You know what I mean? So, because they're smart. They know what's going on, Yeah. So, it's all good. I
think you came around and answered your own question, bro. I think Neil and I are going to charge you for therapy for today. But yeah,
I know. Yeah, this is the real truth. I have a lot to unpack here.
No, well, I want to ask you. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
Go ahead, Neil. No, please go ahead.
Because we're talking about, we ended up veering so much into like background, obviously, family of origin and countries, culture, religion, all that stuff. Like, because you have such a diverse background, culturally, ethnically, and then culinarily, and then you go to Win, where there's certain expectations of you, and then you're on Food Network, like, so much of this business, this food business, and being like on camera talent is like having a thing and a point of view. And I'm actually really curious, because I know what you grew up, cooking and grew up around. But like, to your point, like, your culture is what you make it. You're creating it. Like, how did you find your voice, like, on the plate? Or does it change? Has it changed? Like what's the Jet Tila thing that people haven't put on you, but that you're like, no, this is a Jet Tila dish. Here's why.
Yeah, no, I've embraced my thing. My thing has never changed, right? I came from a Thai Chinese family. Right, my family was the first grocery store, Thai grocery store in the entire existence of America. One of the first few, I was one of the first guys who taught anyone Thai food. Right, there were a few more Tommy Tang before me. Was really it in my dad's generation. So my voice has always been very clear. And when I was brought to Win, when I was cooking in LA, I was cooking at French restaurants and kind of California cuisine restaurants, because I needed to learn the thing that I didn't grow up with. And I went to French culinary school to learn the thing I didn't grow up with. But, I had such strong roots cooking from such a young age that wherever I ended up, they wanted to know, how do I make this? And how do I make this? And they incorporated Thai food. So my thing is Thai Chinese food. I went to Japanese culinary school. So I am Southeast Asia. And on Food Network, I think I'm Southeast Asia. Whenever I'm on Tournament or any of the other shows, I cook grandma foods from around Southeast Asia. That's it. And that's my passion. That's what I've strived to do. That's what I've, that's what really makes me interested. And it's worked out for me. And I don't play this fucking game of like, it's not authenticity. I have colleagues out there. I mean, we can go guns and like start talking shit, but I hate these chefs that weaponize authenticity, right? And they use it to sit on a pedestal of, well, you're not doing it right, so I'm better, so come look at my shit. Asian food in America is a spectrum, right? And what the three of us have eaten in your 40 years and our 50 years is authentic to us. And if I'm in Middle America, in Kansas, I'm in Cincinnati for the Open, and I'm cooking food, and if that's that person's first taste of anything Asian, and it might not be authentic to, let's say, someone who's traveled through Asia, but if that's that person's first taste and they love it, then we've all won. So I'm all about inclusivity and just meeting people where they are with Asian food. That's what it's all about.
Jet, something I wanted to touch on, and it's something that kind of pisses me off too, actually totally pisses me off, is that people will use touchstone little things like appropriation, they'll just use that as like a way to like turn food into something divisive. To turn culture into something divisive. It's really, it's just not cool. And also, I feel like the more I've talked to people who really are study food and food culture, they realize authenticity is just kind of a false narrative. Because, as I was mentioning, in Bangladesh, apparently there's Thai food restaurants there now. Like that, and how is that their version going to adjust to that current palate too? I just heard about how in Tokyo, Indian food is not quite as spicy, but quite revered as well. I mean, there's I think nuance to it. So I totally hear you. Authenticity, come on. Basically it's just like someone's trying to yuck somebody's yum. Haven't we learned that's not good? But I do have we have some lightning round questions, but I do want to kind of shift gears just a little bit just to warm you up. Because this is World's Greatest Dad podcast. Don't know if you caught that already. And you do have to cook for perhaps your toughest critics are your own kids. So on that note, what is your biggest dad fail in the kitchen? Because it can't all just be Penang and pad thai. Man, sometimes you got to make chicken nuggies. Like, tell me about the biggest fail. Iron Chef Tila.
Another core value in our house is, we don't force our kids to try to be fancy, right? So my biggest failure is every day, man. Like we've had live king crab in our house. We've had fresh caught salmon in our house, and they don't eat any of this fancy stuff. My kids don't eat sushi. They won't go out. They're just coming around to Thai food and Chinese food. They love Mediterranean. So this air or like expectation in people's mind that chefs' kids eat fancy is totally BS in our house. I mean, maybe in GZ's house because he's a fancy guy. We are as normal as it gets. So the way we eat in our house is there's one rule in our house. If you like a thing, you have to learn how to make it from scratch. And spaghetti meatballs. Got to make pasta from scratch, sauce from scratch, meatballs from scratch. It sounds simple, and it is simple, but it teaches you a lesson. And we're not trying to push their palates. So chicken nuggies, Ollie, I make probably 10 or 15 pounds of chicken cutlets a month, right? And I'll take really high grade chicken tenders, breasts, or breast inner breasts, right? I'll pound them out, season them out, panko station, the whole triple station, fry it and freeze it. So my kids do eat nuggies, but they eat homemade nuggies all the time. So it's very simple here. It's a food lesson. It's a lesson from cooking with scratch, and it's also a family, time team building exercise. But we eat very simply, but we cook everything from scratch here. With Allie too, pie is made from scratch. Cookies are made from scratch. Cakes are made from scratch.
Yeah.
So a lot of whole foods here, but very simple foods.
I'm going to say this. I'm going to get that, the panko nuggies. You had me at panko, but you're going to have to share me that recipe because that's fantastic. Jet Tila, are you ready for the dad lightning round?
Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
Yeah. This guy's TV ready. Here we go. All right. Parenting advice in 5 words or less.
Jeez. You're not even multiple choice guys. You want me to just come up with 5 words. Right? Firm, loving boundaries always win.
A complete sentence, no less. That's extra points there. Favorite movie to watch with your kids?
Oh, man. As we all know, it changes in different phases, right? Right now, universally, it would be Harry Potter. Any of them.
All right.
Right?
Super strength or ability to fly?
Ooh. Super strength has more applications, in my opinion. As a family, as a single person, I'd like to fly. As a father, super strength.
What an interesting way to approach that. This is going to be an interesting answer, too, especially based on this fantastic conversation. Best advice your dad ever gave you?
Oh, really interesting one. Jet, in this amazing country, there's money everywhere. There's money on the street. You just need to know how to pick it up. Fantastic entrepreneur and business mentor. My father, second to none. As a loving, intimate father, different person.
All right. First concert you ever went to?
Oh, geez. First one that comes to my mind is my mom drugged me to Christopher Cross. You guys even know who he is?
Cool. Yeah, hell yeah. Yacht Rock, baby, please.
Oh, that is.
We're the same age.
Yeah. As a young adult. Yeah. As a young adult who drove myself to the concert, it would have been probably K-Rock Acoustic Christmas. You know what I mean? So I got to see every single alternative band on earth. Yeah.
Totally. I one of my regrets, I never went to Weenie Roast. Maybe they'll bring it back.
Oh, boo, Ollie, I'm so sorry, man.
I know. We'll see. One day, maybe they'll bring it back. Everyone will be old like me. Best TV dad.
Oh, geez. That's a good one,
these
man.
These are good.
Wow, these are really thoughtful. Best TV dad? I mean, I want to be a smart ass and say the guy from Breaking Bad.
Here we go. Oh, cool. Yeah. Done.
He reminds me of my dad. He reminds me of my dad. Yeah.
Jet Tila's dad is like Walter White. This is a first ever. This is incredible. It's been quite a day. I know. It's been quite a day.
The dads that reminded me of my dad would be either Walter White or Tony Soprano. How's that? That's how messed up we was.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Those did not end well.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
No.
Wait, all three did not end well.
Great songs to conclude.
Yeah.
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 Oh, this is a crazy one. Last lie you told your kids.
Oh man. God, because you know our
It's a trick
core
question for
values
you.
here. So yeah, you guys know the Tila core values now. Because we don't lie in this house. So what's the last like white lie? It was something probably really dumb that had to do with, you know, uh, oh, I can't find your allowance sheet right now. That's something stupid. So because I didn't want to give my son Roblox or Robux or something like that.
Yeah. I know that
Yeah.
one. Yeah. This is usually a white lie. We
Yeah.
hope. Go-to meal to cook your kids.
Um. Go-to meal right now is going to be, um, honestly, yeah, grilled cheese right now. That's like real simple, fast, get it on the table.
I mean, I have to ask, what is after hearing, spaghetti and meatballs at your house means making the freaking pasta, which is
Yeah.
I've yet to do, my friend. But beyond that, what exactly goes into a Tila grilled cheese sandwich? House of Tila
Super
grilled cheese sandwich.
boring and simple. It's probably Ali's bread from the freezer, and then mayonnaise. We're a mayonnaise on the griddle family, and there's always a Mott's cheddar blend and Gruyere. It's so boring, guys. But I like to do the melty cheese in the middle.
It's boring.
But it's boring. But I freako the exterior though. So once the middle is melted, I put the shredded cheese in the pan, and it crusts, and it makes that Italian frico crust. So we frico a lot of things here. So. Yeah.
I knew it. Unbelievable. Yeah, freako in more ways than one, Jet. You are a true freako when it comes to your grilled cheese. One word you would want your kids to describe you with.
Oh, wow. One singular word. How about loving? That's it.
Well done.
Yeah, simple.
That's a good one. Greatest dad of all time.
Yeah, right.
Greatest dad of all time. The GOAT.
Not me,
Who's
man.
the greatest dad? No. I mean, that's the question.
Oh, yeah, right. Oh, yeah.
Who is the greatest dad of all time?
Still Michael Jordan is gone.
Yeah. I mean, if it's you, own it.
No way.
Yeah.
Greatest dad of all time. Oh, easy. Bob Hedrick. Bob Hedrick was the greatest dad of all time. He was the man who taught me how to be a dad.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right. That was a really amazing, by the way. I loved hearing that. Just you sharing that. Best Pixar movie.
Oh, Pixar movie, huh? Oh, Pixar movies. Interesting. You guys are leaning into Pixar. Yeah.
Well,
okay. Now that I'm looking
sponsor.
at them all, there you go. Now it makes more sense. There's a lot of them. Let's see. I will have to say, I'm going to go off the cuff. There was a Pixar short that ran before Moana, which was a Disney movie, but Lava. You guys know Lava? The ukulele song?
Yeah.
Wow.
Like
yeah.
We never even thought to consider the shorts, but
I know. Jet picked a short. Like I feel like short films are those things no one ever sees. They just make for the industry to acknowledge awards and nominations.
No, there was so during pandemic, I learned how to play ukulele, and that was a song we'd sing with the kids. So,
wow. Wait, do you pronounce it ukulele or ukulele?
Well, if you were to be, native, I'm not Hawaiian, but my friends who are from Hawaii, It's ukulele. That's the correct pronunciation on the island.
I am here to freaking learn, baby. I mean, why not? Why not?
Why
Believe me,
not?
I live
Why
in
not,
Austin, and yeah. Believe me, I hear people take creative liberties with pronouncing Spanish words here. It's pretty nuts.
Oh, I hear you. I'm surrounded by amazing dudes and ladies that are from Hawaii. A lot of my business partners, best friends, etc. So, yeah, we're there a lot.
Fascinating. I actually really did learn something. All right, Jet Tila, last one. Best part about being a dad.
Oh man, at this phase in our lives, just sitting around the counter, eating, and just sharing stories, and just being proud that we made these little people, and hopefully guiding them well. That's it. That's the best part.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. I mean, how appropriate for the guy who puts out so much great stuff about basically the fun Tila family adventures. You know what? You're a real joy. You're a real joy, Jet. Thank you so much. This is awesome.
No, I appreciate you guys. This is, you know what? It takes yeah, good dad. It takes one to know two, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Continued success.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. You're the best.
Thanks.